So when we're talking about the question, what are you hoping for in a company culture? I'm going to give you a few tips. Then I'm going to share a place where you can go practice if you haven't done this before. And we're all going to give each other feedback to make each other better at this question. So when we talk about this question, what are you hoping for in a company culture? This question can be asked oftentimes in the early stage of an interview when you're just doing the phone screen with an HR manager. Very common place to ask this. But also different versions of this question are going to be asked later on. They're going to be asked by your hiring manager in a different way. What culture do you succeed under? Or they'll be asked by colleagues, as in, what's the best culture you've worked for? So this question is just an overarching question for a bunch of similar questions. So when we talk about this, why are they asking you this question? I think there's really three reasons. The first is they're trying to find out, do you know yourself? How honest are you about who you are and where you're good at? Are you right for the job? Meaning, are you going to fit into the company culture that really fits in? And lastly, do you know what to expect? Right? Did you do your research? Do you care enough? Do you know what you're getting into when you join my company with our crazy unique culture? Did you do your research? So we really want to be able to explain ourselves on these 3 points. And here's how we're going to do that. The first one, how well do you know yourself? This is your opportunity to share where it is that you thrive. For you to be honest about your skill sets, your passions, what kind of culture really speaks to you. So you're really going to want to make sure that you show confidence and you talk about times in which you've thrived previously. Because here, you really want to make sure that the person on the other side of the interview, the person on the other side of the phone call, they really get off the phone with you feeling like, yeah, this person gets it. This person knows where they succeed. This person has spent enough time contemplating the places where they are most successful. So this is your place to show, hey, I'm Adriel, and this is what makes me tick. This is the culture where I do my best work. Here's examples of when I've done my best work. Here's what I've learned about myself throughout this whole job search process. And if you're able to show that confidence and that ability to be intellectually honest with yourself, it's going to come off well to the person you're speaking with. Next is really a question of, did you do your research? Right? Do you know what you're getting into? Are you aware of what is going to happen once you actually get into the company? So here they want to know, do you care enough to know what this company is like, right? Have you done those informational interviews, or what have you learned? What have you learned about my company reading blogs or listening to podcasts or listening to my CEO speak, right? What do you know about me? This is your place to let it shine. So the best thing you can say in any question about culture, where you fit in, or things like that, is that you've spoken with somebody, you've done some informational interviews with people on the inside, and here's what I've learned. That's the best thing you can do. It shows that you've done the research. It shows that you heard it from the horse's mouth, right? Culture is just what a bunch of employees do when the boss isn't looking. And if you've spoken with other employees about what culture means to them and how they succeed and what the team is like and all that stuff, you're really going to stand out. So the best thing you can do is say that you've talked to somebody already there. The second, or maybe who's been there. The second best thing is that you really researched really, really well and you know how to fit in, right? That's the story you want to tell, that you've done your research and you know how to fit in. So sharing, yeah, I've actually listened to your podcast and I love when you talk about this, or I heard your CEO speak on this podcast or this YouTube video, and this really stuck out to me. Or I actually read your entire blog, start to finish, back to March of 2002, and here's what stuck out to me, right? Maybe don't go that far, but be able to express the fact that you've done the research, and very importantly, that you're going to fit in. Now, I'm going to repeat this point a little bit later, but when you practice this question right after this, I want you to practice and be specific to the company you're practicing for, right? Either you have an interview coming up and you can pretend to answer this question as if you're practicing for that upcoming interview, or think about your last interview, or if you haven't interviewed in a little while, think about your last job. The point is, when you practice this, the more specific you can be for the company you're practicing for, the more you'll find ways to really be able to curate your answer and customize it. And I'll mention that again when we talk about how to practice. So the next thing they're looking for is, will you succeed? And this is really what it comes down to. Maybe Maybe you're honest with yourself, right? Maybe to thine own self be true. You already know where you're good. And maybe you did do the research and you found out that this particular culture is really go-getter or really about team building or really works weekends and late nights or really 9 to 5 and work-life balance is huge. Whatever you researched, will you succeed? And this is the key point here, that whether or not they ask you it this bluntly, this is what they're looking to learn. Great talent does not always pair with great culture, which seems counterintuitive. If I'm the best in the biz at what I do, and your company is amazing and also looking for the best in the biz, how can we not be a good fit, right? How can that be possible? Well, I love this little photo of championship point guard Rajon Rondo with a new coach, championship coach Rick Carlisle. They're both champions. How on the Dallas Mavericks, who just won a championship, how can the best player in basketball not work well with the best coach in basketball on the best team in basketball? Well, sometimes it doesn't work out. Rajon Rondo left within a year or two. Same thing here. Just because you're great, and just because the company's great, it doesn't mean you're going to be a fit. So this is a question where you can share how you've worked at cultures similar to this one, how this company is the place for you, and how you can really succeed within the culture that they are building out. And that is going to be really important to share. And then we get to the how you share this. With this question, as with many questions about culture, it is very easy to share what I call a blog post answer. It's very easy to give sort of the generic, oh, well, what I value in a culture is a manager who believes in me and somebody who just lets me do my own thing and great team building and yada, yada. That's what I call a blog post answer, right? That's something anybody could say that's never worked a day in their life and just read a blog post about how to answer this question or what it means to be a culture fit or whatever. Don't give the blog post answer. Stand out here with one of two things. Either a story of your past, which means, well, the best culture I ever worked for let me do this, that, and the other thing. And that was the place where I got my biggest deal or built my best product or had my best work or won my most awards. And that's an example of the culture I'm looking for. That's a story of your past or a glimpse of your future. If you know something about the culture, use this as a place to be specific. Oh, what am I looking for in a company culture? Well, actually, on your blog, I read that you got this amazing value of cross-functional teams always working together and giving each other ideas. And I love that. Actually, on my last company, one of the things I kept pushing for is that my sales team works really closely with the product team so I can keep giving them ideas and they could keep training me. So I love the fact that you guys are always bringing two different groups together, because that's where I've succeeded in the past. And that's where I built this amazing product, sold this great deal, yada, yada. And I love that you have that, right? Give me that glimpse of the future and make me realize and believe that you've got what it takes to succeed in this particular brand of culture. So here's what happens next. I think most of you have Riveter accounts. If not, log into riveterworks.com. It's totally free and you'll be able to create an account. You're going to find the question. I'll show you how to do that and practice your answer. And ideally, you do this right when we hang up. Get the inertia. I know it's scary, especially I think most of you have practiced an answer. There's a couple here who having it recorded their first answer. It can be weird to talk to a camera, but we're all going to do this, all 8 of us. And then there's more people who are going to do it later when they receive the recording. So we're all going to be in this together. Record your answer and then give feedback to at least one other video. And I'll show you how to do that. So you're going to go actually, I'll show you live instead. So this is the homepage. It looks pretty much the same for everybody. You're going to open up this work history button, right? You got these 4 buttons here on your homepage. You're going to open up work history and you'll see that right here, it's the 5th one down. What are you hoping for in a company culture? You'll be able to click practice your answer and it pops a video. This normally a video screen pops up. You might have to approve it, but here Zoom is eating my video. So if you're doing this for the first time, Google Chrome, which is where you should be recording this, is going to ask you to approve that the website can use your video and things like that. This is brand new. If you want to add a note for yourself, so you're like, remember to talk about whatever, right? If you want to add some notes for yourself, and those notes will appear here when you're practicing, that could just be a helpful little thing for you to use. You're going to practice it. And then when you're finished practicing, the page is going to look a little like this. you're going to click add target roles, add the roles that you have. So this just lets people give better feedback to you. You're going to make sure that the video is marked as public, not as private. So you see all videos are default private. Nobody sees them. For this particular case, we want to make them public so that we can all see them and give each other feedback. You can always turn it off later so nobody except you can see them, and you're going to confirm it. The way you're going to get feedback is already I recorded my video, and I might do another one because now that I did this teaching here, I realize I don't love my answer. I might improve it. But what you'll be able to do is same thing. You'll go to your work history question. You'll go to what are you hoping for in a company culture? Remember, it's the 5th one down. And you'll click see others answers on the right over here. That'll show you all the people that have answered this question before, and all new answers are going to pop up. I recorded this about an hour ago. All new answers are going to pop up to the left of me. So if there's anything new on here, it's you guys who are practicing this specific question. Go on there, give each other feedback. Feel free to start by giving me feedback on this answer and telling me how I can improve just to get warmed up.